So look, let me say this real quick. I want to welcome everybody to our studying scriptures reading. Welcome everybody who's live and joining us on Zoom. Welcome to everybody who's joining us for the replay or replay for the replay. Welcome to everybody who's joining us for the replay on YouTube. I'm Aki Shlomo. This is the beautiful and lovely
Coach Ripaya.
And today we are picking up in 1 Samuel chapter 16.
Burn them all, yeah. Blame them, oh, cause I will never see, and I will never stop burning these fires non-stop, yeah, oh, yeah. Alright, are the leaders them will let the people down, have them holding on to throwing them a drown. Are the leaders them will let the people down, they always hate the people we were found. And the leaders them and let the people down. Them trying to blame it on the dancehall and the artists and the sound. We got it to let the people down. Then ask the gate to use them on my sound. Yo, Babylon a speak them words, but we no love how them sound. Cause them see them wanna turn it in a gun town. No forget to use them turn in a gun clown. Gunshot a tear off them head crown. Well every other day and next body them found. Well in and them own a blood missy said them drown. Who them boy I really wanted for clown.
Welcome. Finally made it. How y'all doing, family?
That's my kid.
That's me on cue to get your scripture sit down so you can read along with us. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You don't act like y'all don't be disappearing on us as soon as we go live.
Yeah, we do like that's my kid. We about to tell.
I don't know what happened, fam, and I apologize. I called myself setting that link up and making sure I sent it early this morning, like 6 or 7. Very challenging week.
Yes.
I bet. But you made it through. It's a Shabbat. How you feeling now after getting a good night's Shabbat rest?
That Shabbat sleep.
Very grateful.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, that Shabbat sleep is different.
Doing all that.
But after the day and kind of digging in and regrouping, we should then feel like, okay, I could do this another week. At least another week.
Once you get that daily bread, you get that Shabbat bread.
Yeah. How is our sound, family? We got fans on in the background. Is it drowning us out? Okay. Hallelujah.
It's good.
Hold on.
Y'all, can somebody maybe a Coach Kimmy share the link to this in that chat? I'm trying to send it, but my signal. Yeah, you already sent it? Okay. My phone ain't no signal whatsoever. Oh my goodness. We hear it now. You hear it now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. The recuperation process from us leaving Thursday after I got off work last week to go to Chicago and trying to see and do everything that we scheduled, and then coming back in town Wednesday morning. We were supposed to come back Tuesday. We actually came back Wednesday morning. Shabbat Shalom, fam. And then me going straight to work and her handling stuff in the house. We ain't no spring chickens no more. Our bodies are still trying to recover. I'm just gonna be honest. I was so happy that by the time I went to work Wednesday, I only had 2 more days of work for the week before the Shabbat got here that I don't know what to tell you.
I went to the grocery store yesterday to go Shabbat shopping. That's why them people must have looked at me like I was some kind of. I had my shades on, had my scarf on, I had Shlomo big old
You know,
shirt
them,
on.
Oh, it's a white
Yeah,
shirt.
that white button.
Not your garden shirt.
Oh my god, I looked like I was coming out of the garden, and folks were staring at me like she ain't trying to do nothing today. I showed it.
I usually don't let her go out of the garden.
I showed it.
But yeah, we here now, like she said. So if y'all see us throwing a couple yawns in there, we still recovering. And I mean, every night since then, we slept good, but still woke up like, no, you're not done yet.
It just be trying to wrangle up these 9 children. We got 9 now, and
We didn't have a new baby anywhere.
no, there was no new babies. My oldest son brought him home a woman, and now she our baby. And so, bringing up these 9 children, getting them from point A to point B, trying to get around to see everybody, trying to get around to see all the family, getting them from point A to point B. We had double bookings. We had some family like, okay, yeah, we cooking for y'all at this time, and the other families like, okay, we throwing y'all a party at the same time. And so it was
And you
just
still don't get to see everything, right? So
Oh,
you
my
always
goodness.
wind up with somebody disappointed,
somebody
Or-
saying,
you know how it is, when you go to see family,
yeah,
some of it is very extremely enjoyable, and sometimes it's just unnecessarily stressful.
very trying.
And you usually have both in one trip. So
And then
no problems here, and then, oh my goodness, why are we having these issues over here?
And most of the time, Chicago is like where my old woman lived. And so anytime I go to Chicago, it's like she be waiting. She be like, "Come on home. I knew you was coming home. Come on, let me hold you. Let's do some old woman
Damage.
stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's
Damage.
now that we're back
Damage.
together again. You know what I'm saying?"
Stop.
Coach said her week was feeling like Job. You was feeling like Job. Wow, Coach. You want to come out to the mic and talk about it a little bit?
Feel free. Feel free. We can kick this off with a testimony if you like.
Hey,
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yes, at the end, it ended up being a testimony, but oh my goodness. So, most of y'all know, so I'm sight impaired. And so I got a letter like on a Monday. Someone made a mistake in my records and my benefits had got turned off, my health benefits.
Mhm.
So it took 2 days for me to get that rectified because I had doctor's appointments coming up.
Mhm.
But then like on that Thursday, I got a letter telling me that my Social Security was going to be cut because they didn't have all the proper information from the state. So in essence, what it is, you have to pay for your health insurance if the state doesn't cover it.
Mhm.
And so by the person putting in the information wrong, it caused them to cut my check down. Oh, this is on a Thursday. And, we got paid on Saturday. So they gave me literally a 2-day notice of them cutting my check. And they cut it. And rent was due. And I just was like, just so. And then the doctor's appointment was so unfavorable. That Joker gonna try to tell me at 51 years old that it's possible that I have sickle cell. So, and I'm like, man, I think it would have been diagnosed way before now. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to put that stuff on me. And then turn around and got a cancellation notice for the car insurance. And when I went to go pay it, it had canceled. Like one day, I called the very next day to pay it. They told us that we was uninsurable. And it was just such a challenge. We called like 8 or 9 different insurance companies to try to get us covered. And then through the mix of all that, come to find out, my license suspended. Now, I know y'all may think I'm crazy. Y'all like, what what you doing a driver's license and you can't see? But see, what happened was I would hold on to my driver's license because I'm holding on to, my belief, that this is not permanent. And so, yeah, I never went to DMV and said, I can't see.
Right.
But apparently someone turned in the report and said what it was. So they suspended my license. But see, my thing was this: how y'all put me down as being suspended because that affect the insurance? Because now I got to file an SR-22. You shouldn't have put it down as being suspended because I didn't do anything wrong or illegal for them to be suspended. You should have deactivated it. So it's like all this stuff, not to my own doing, it just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And I found myself being selfish for a moment. They're having a pity party.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, now, what I do? Show me. Apparently, I'm being disobedient somewhere. Because, oh my goodness, truly, this wouldn't be coming at me for no reason, And as soon as that came out my mouth, I heard, and Yahushua did something. Who are you to not have anything come against you? When he was 100% purely innocent and clean and unblemished, and all he had to suffer. So that kind of put my attitude back in check.
Gotcha.
Just for a little bit. And so I just, began praying and calling out and praying and just calling out. Because I'm used to adversity. I've had it all my life. But it's funny how I thought, okay, I guess I got comfortable. Because I was like, okay, I done went through all that. I done went through that. I had to go through this. I had to go through that. All that's over with. A little bit of stuff here and there. Boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong, y'all. I was so wrong. But glory be to y'all. I got my insurance back. They still messing with my money. But and we were paying over $300 a month in car insurance. And when we got to the ninth person, now we paying $156 a month. So I give y'all glory and all of that. We had to go through the process to get to that, like all the doors being closed. But at the end, it worked out in our favor. But it was just I was so happy today. Today was my very first day. Hallelujah. Truly, like 100% doing nothing but reading and praising and worshiping and watching, like 100%. Every time something tried to come on my mind to do something else, I was like, no, this is his day. This is his day. This is set apart time. It's for you to rest, but no, you ain't doing none of that. You ain't getting on the phone. You ain't getting on this. No. I ain't do no Kindle reading. No, none of that. And I was just so grateful for today. It's like I really appreciate it today. Like I get it. I thought I got it, but no, I get it. I get it.
That is. And it is one of the things too that happen, whereas you have these trials that come upon you so that you can be tempted to sin. So like when you're under this pressure, what are you going to do? Are you going to still follow the law? Although, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to lie. I can't lie, but it was on the tip of, like, on the forefront of my mind. It never came out my mouth. But I promise y'all, I heard, are you sure it's Yahuah? Are you sure? Are you sure it's Yahuah? Are you sure? You sure you didn't have all this?
Please, if you don't mind.
And that's another thing. Like I heard this guy, this teacher many years ago, he said, and he had his flaws, but I think he was right about this. He was like, you can always tell when it's the devil trying to tempt you, because his method of temptation is always doubt. And so when he always said, like he told Eve, remember he told Eve, are you sure that, you know, he says you can't eat of the really? It's like, are you positive? You know, it's all, he always presents this doubt. And he's like, that's how you can always tell when it's the devil's voice. Because Abiyah dealing yeses and nos. You know what I'm saying? Abiyah ain't confusion. It ain't a maybe with him. It's a solid yes or no. You know what I mean?
But
yes, let me tell you, that family, see,
Yeah.
see, if you wouldn't have been changing up the name and see how you sure, see, it was all this happening to you when you was, you know what I'm saying? But I had to shut them out.
Yeah.
I refuse to be moved.
And it's a test. It's a test. So it's like a test. Now, we all don't get tested the same way, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Some of us get tested different. But it's a test to see, like Job, you know, Job had his wife, his children, his servant, he had his best friends, all of them in his ear telling him, you know, you foolish for continuing on. You know, his wife, she was just like, denounce Yah and be done with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you say, like, out of all the things that you could have said in the face of my temptation or in the hour of my struggle, that's what came to you? Denounce Yah? Really? That, like, if you didn't know if it was the devil, you know, that's a clear sign. Like, you know what I mean? Not get better at my walk, or maybe, you know, like you said, what did I do? Did I make a mistake in sin and didn't know it? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we sin and don't know it. Sometimes, you know, we could have eaten something unclean and not know it, or been in an unclean place and not know it, or did something that Abiyah want us to change it and not really know it. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't say maybe these things occurred. You told me your first thing is to denounce Abiyah. That's your theory.
The other good thing in what you said that I heard was complacency. Like, sometimes Yah does stuff just to get us out of our complacency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get comfortable. We feel like we're being blessed. Like, think about what's going on around us in the world. Think about third world living situations. Think about people who live in the cities, and I don't know if y'all do or you don't, but over this 4th of July weekend, all the people that came up there, that touched a lot of people. Some of us it didn't touch personally, and we began to feel like I'm good in what I'm doing, even though what we're doing isn't necessarily enough in Yah's eyes. So it's like, yeah, I called you back, you heard my name. You're doing a little something, but not really enough. You graduated preschool,
Yeah.
fine. And now you're in 1st grade, 2nd grade, whatever. And I got these items that I need you to check the box on in order for you to be promoted to the next level of understanding. But you haven't checked those boxes. You're comfortable right there in kindergarten, but I need you to get to 1st grade.
This happened to us, family. It's a true story.
And so what I need you to do is I need you to get off your rump. I need you to remember that I'm in control of all these things, and I'm the reason why you're comfortable. And I can easily move my finger and allow the adversary back in your life just enough to shake you up. You know, people say it's adversary. It's not that it ain't the adversary, or a menacing angel, Malachim, but he can remove his covering just a little bit just to show you.
Yeah.
So you complacent. Let me get complacent.
And it could be for like things that you wouldn't even, like, for example, I remember we had idols in our house that we didn't know about. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't just like, you know to look out for the statueries, the figurines, the pictures of Jesus, you know all the in your face idols, you know what I'm saying? But we got to read like the Testament, the wisdom of Shlomo, and we got a lot of, we still got a lot of idols in the house. You know what I'm saying? We was punished, like, believe it or not, I've been punished for this gonna amaze y'all, for reading romance novels. So it was to a point where when the Most High was ready for me to step out there and to write, you know what I'm saying, to start writing or whatever, it took me a while to get to it because I was addicted to reading. So I was addicted to reading other people's work, and I wasn't doing my work. I wasn't doing what the Most High called me to do. And I started getting that my book reading was a problem. He started subtly showing it to me, you know what I'm saying? But I ignored it because it was of my flesh. I really enjoyed that. I mean, it wasn't a sin. It wasn't a thou shalt not. You know what I'm saying? So it was easy to ignore the voice and the urging that was urging me to stop reading and start writing. You know what I mean? And I mean, this was years ago. I mean, and I wouldn't never could imagine my writing would have done what it did today. But I was being disobedient, and I wasn't doing, I wasn't writing. I was reading, and he started punishing. He started punishing me, and then started punishing him because of it.
There is a situation, and I'm not saying this necessarily applies to what was going on with you, but there is a situation, and it was on my mind earlier today anyway, so I figured let's tie this in, where among the nation of Israel, we reach a point in sometimes, and so did they in history, where Israel felt like to know that we Israel is enough, and forget that Israel had a mission. Israel had a job. And so to sit back on your laurels, as the old folks used to say, and not be about your father's business is really a slap in his face, right? And to claim ignorance
which is what I was doing.
was never acceptable. Like, ignorance is not a defense. In American law, ignorance is also not a defense according to biblical law. You know what I'm saying? And so we know we Israel, okay, but Israel has a job. What is a job? His job may overall be the same for all of us as a nation, as the body, but his individual job for you, and his individual job for me, and his individual job for her is to be determined by your relationship with him. And if you're not actively pursuing that relationship and growing that relationship and tending to that relationship, you're not hearing him. And when he tells you, this is my mission for you, and this is what I have for you to do. And what happens is, there comes a time when he says, okay, enough sitting and waiting. I need you to start moving. Or don't. Either way, you're at a precipice. You're going to have to make a decision. If you're going to be the type of person who it's enough for you to know ignorance is bliss, or I know, but that's enough, or you're going to go hard. And when I say go hard, I mean as hard as you went for everything you went for in the world before you knew the truth, equally or more as hard for the truth.
And then sometimes, like when the trial is heavier on somebody than the next person, sometimes that's because he got work for, he got something. You got a major calling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's urging you urgently to move on something. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it, like, okay, you say, this was attacked, this was attacked, this was attacked, this was attacked, all at once. That's like,
not coincidence. That's
not coincidences. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could say that, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? There is something that the Most High is trying to tell you. And like, yes, Job went through what he went through. And a lot of people who don't understand that story feel like Job was innocent in that. Abiyah was teaching Job. Abiyah had to humble Job. Job wasn't humble. So Job had got so comfortable in his walk that Job was like, I'm pretty much perfect. Because, I mean, everybody know it. For years to come, they're going to say, look at my servant Job. I'm pretty much perfect. I do all this, I do all that. But Job had a lot of things going wrong for him. First of all, Job had no control over his household. True. None whatsoever. Job's children was out of control. Job's wife was out of control.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And the scripture tell us that if you are teaching, if you put in this position, you supposed to have your household in control.
Yep.
Job did not have his household in control. His children was doing whatever they would. His wife was doing whatever she would. And yes, Job, the man, was a good man, but it was things he could have worked on. And so the Most High chose that he didn't just pick Job arbitrarily. Remember, all things work together for the good. So the Most High got a way of growing you while teaching you at the same time.
That's true. And correcting you.
And correcting you.
His punishment don't mean he's done with you.
Yeah.
His punishment means he's still working on it.
Exactly. And so when he set the adversary loose on Job, with the only instructions is don't kill him.
Right.
And then he did it. He let Job go through all that. He let Job went through so much that Job finally called out, like, I'm about to give up. This is just too much. Finally, the Most High was like, finally, you humble. Finally, you at a point where you can hear me.
You can listen now.
You can listen now. You know what I'm saying? Big head.
Are you done talking now? You ready to listen now?
Right, because Job was like, his friends was like, well, you must have not had fed the poor. That's probably why you got them souls. You know what I'm saying? And Job was like, fed the poor? I did more than feed the poor. I opened the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? I had poor coming in and out 24 hours. They know you can come get a meal with Job.
Didn't you see me out there slinging food to the homeless on social media? I posted the pictures right on Facebook.
And I know I don't just feed the poor. I clothe them and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I had to humble Job. And when Job was finally humbled to a place, and then one day Job was a bad guy. I love Job. Job was a good servant, but he was a little bad. You know what I'm saying? And then once Job had finally got to this humble state, that the Most High starts talking to him. The first thing he did was went in on him like, man, you talk like did you lay the foundations for the heavens? Did you lay the cornerstone for the earth? Because the way you talk, because if so, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because you must be me. You know what I mean? And if you know the recipe, tell me. You know what I mean?
He couldn't.
He couldn't.
He didn't.
He absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes that be what it is, and it's hard to really see and know what to do when you're going through trial, because trial hurt and it's painful and it's stressful. You know what I'm saying? But pray on it, fast on it. You know what I'm saying? Address it in a very humble state, like, let me fast and pray that the Most High show me and talk to me and just show me what it is that, you know what I'm saying? And
it's also good in those instances to have righteous fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody that you know that you can call on that will give you righteous counseling in those situations, and not some of the counseling that some of Joe's friends did.
Yeah. Joe's friends was,
from what it sounded like, maybe your family was telling you.
Yeah.
Denounce y'all. See, that's the problem. You ain't calling on, I bet you call on Jesus.
Show me what scripture and verse. Like, if you're going to say something to me that I need to be doing to better my walk, you got to be able to back that up with scripture and verse. You got to be able to go to that book of instructions and show me in the book of instructions that what you're saying is true. If not, sip it, because I'm already going through enough right now.
That fellowship is important, because we all have those times where we need somebody else to lean on. We need somebody to help prop us up and get us through those trials and tribulations.
Yeah. And sis, if you need anything, you reach out to family. You know what I'm saying? You need something, you let us know. If we got to start a GoFundMe or whatever, start a funding, found something, you let us know, and we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Thank y'all.
You're welcome,
Yeah, told off the testimony.
Dang.
I'm happy to hear that the Shabbat brought peace.
Dang.
So yeah, it kind of in line with that, man. We was saying the same thing to one of the children here about, this what's this thing they're doing away with now? Affirmative action that they're doing away with,
and everything that falls up underneath that.
Yeah, they've been coming at this stuff for years now, and they finally making these moves. But we just got to remember, and this is what we tell them, we have to remember that God is ultimately in control. So even though it seems like they get a victory, we just got to understand that whatever Yah is doing, even though we may not understand it in that time, it's a bigger picture going on. You know what I'm saying? It's not just affirmative action. And I thought about this when you were saying what you were saying. This term they use called entitlements, they're coming after all of it. So know that eventually they're trying to roll back any entitlements. And the fact that they call it entitlements is amazing to me because they're really telling you how they feel about those programs. They feel like you are given something that you don't deserve, even though historically Gentiles was the ones who were given these things first, right? Even when they first settled over here, when they were giving away land to anybody who would occupy a space is very ish in nature. It's very red media in nature, where you're gonna set up your tent on somebody else's land and say, well, since I set up my tent here, I now own this. And the government said, look, you set your tent up there, we're gonna give you that plus another 200 acres, as long as you don't let the indigenous people come back on your land. Because we're trying to get rid of them. That's entitlement. Tell me that ain't feeling entitled. Well, you are foreign colonizer. You done came from way over yonder somewhere. How you just gonna come over here and pop a post in the ground and say, by right of might, as they taught me in high school.
But look at this.
By right of arms, this is mine.
This the setup. Now they took 2 of my babies' scholarships from her because of the affirmative action. So you coming at the bruise that's trying to better themselves, that's trying to make themselves competition for you. You know what I'm saying? You coming after them, but the food stamps and the stuff like that, you pretend to be upset with that, but that's still here. You haven't gotten rid of food stamps. You ain't gonna get rid of food stamps. You're coming after the bruise who can one day be your competition.
Well, the other thing that I found interesting in contrast to the affirmative action in higher education, the same thing we told her. Now you got people coming out, rightfully, I believe, saying, okay, you want to roll back affirmative action, but what about these legacy tuition programs where these individuals don't have to have the grades, the GPA, or the SAT scores, but as long as their legacy for Harvard, Stanford, whatever, they can get in.
They can get in.
So it's not about, so what you were saying, it's not about making sure everything is equal and fair. And it never was. So don't let them tell you that lie. It was always about giving them a foothold to be here. And you staying right under there while they got their foot on your neck to the point of your death, if it need be, not a problem.
One called entitlements, the other called legacy.
Legacy.
Get your face. You don't get that bullshit.
Absolutely, sis. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a mess. It's a hot mess, but that's okay. Because it was like I was telling the babies today. YAHUSHUA put it on YAHUSHUA heart and Pharaoh's heart. So that Pharaoh put extra pressure on the bruise when it's time for them to leave. And what did that do? That made it so that when YAHUSHUA said, let's go, the bruise was more willing to go because they had a lot of pressure on them here.
Because y'all had to shake them out of their comfort.
Had to shake them out of their comfort. Had to show them that this land ain't for you. And so all the comforts they had in Egypt, YAHUSHUA put it on Pharaoh's heart to take it away from him. Pharaoh took them all away.
Put that food in the refrigerator so it doesn't spoil. I said that like 45 minutes ago.
Pharaoh took it
3 things of
all
food
away.
out in the cabinet. It's too hot.
Yeah.
Don't look around. You're the only one to see it.
You really look at him, but
but
Pharaoh took it away, all their comforts, and increased their labor. And so the bruise.
Want it later, right?
The bruise was cool in Egypt. They like, we got everything we need. We got everything. YAHUSHUA put it on Pharaoh's heart, and he took it all away. So by the time Moses came along and said, we got to bounce, it's too hot here, the bruise was with it. They was like, yeah, let's go.
Y'all have to know that according to prophecy, these things will happen again. They have to. Because otherwise, let's just be honest with ourselves. You got your internet.
You got your AC.
My daughter got a social media here. You got your AC.
You know what I'm saying? You got your fried chicken places.
Yeah, you got that. What the bruise in Egypt said, man, we missed that fish in Egypt.
Yeah, ain't that what that's what they said.
We missed that fish.
And the leek soup. Remember how they used to put the leek soup, the leeks?
And so the only way to get most of us, so I'm not going to put a blanket accusation on all of y'all or all of us, But most of us, y'all's gonna have to turn up the temperature on this place in order for us to let it go.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of us be like, you know, I see y'all going over there, but we're gonna have to.
Yeah,
I got a young brother that I deal with every week now. He got a lot of questions before he make any moves. He got 50 million questions before he make a decision to make any move. And so I can only imagine us as Brews, we're like, where we going? When? Now what season we going in?
Right.
Now is it gonna be a far journey? Are we getting a ride? Can we get a flight? Because I prefer a flight.
Is there something available for people with disabilities?
Now when I get over there, is it already gonna be a house for me?
Right. This is what I need to know.
I need to know before I make this decision. Y'all don't want to
Do
hear
I
it.
have a job like?
Yeah, you talk about upset. Yeah, exactly. All that.
You know what I'm saying?
Upset, yeah.
Yeah.
Either you going or you not. I told
Either you
my
rolling or
cousin
you
this morning. I'm gonna be 100% real with y'all because my cousin, since I told him what we believe,
Can't
say
go.
it.
Who all gonna be there?
I believe that.
Yeah.
And he has been actively internalizing that, and I see his mind is trying to work it out. He got issues. I ain't saying it's perfect. But he told me today, he said, cuz if the power grid go down to Chicago, I gotta get out. I said, absolutely. He said, I've been thinking about how to get one of our family members out too. And how to go back and get it. I said, cuz, let me tell you something. If the power grid go down, get out. You cannot go back and get. Think Lot's wife, right? Even for love, right? Matthew 10, what is that, 34 through 37? He who loves mother and father more than me, I don't come to bring peace but a sword. Listen, if they are as serious about their walk as you are, he's going to put on their heart that it's time to go as strongly as he's putting on your heart. We'll meet you in the wilderness, right? Ain't no going and getting, dragging nobody, and they can't make up their mind. And when it's time to go,
It's time.
y'all say when Yahushua, the scriptures say when he come in as a thief in the night, like a burglar. Either you heard his voice, you heard the shofar, you was packed, ready, and you bounced, or you didn't. Or you didn't.
I told
and
him,
I don't care what the caliber is, I cannot.
I ain't going back.
Yeah, you knew.
You knew.
We told you. You saw us preparing. Either you took it seriously or you didn't. Because when the shofar blow and he say roll, I'm rolling. And I ain't grabbing no nigga hand that ain't ready to roll.
Oh, I don't know. Listen.
And I apologize for being blunt.
Baby, I ain't even looking back. Hey, y'all, it's time. Let's go.
I seen that movie before.
I don't know. Okay, well, you know, how to later. I pray to see you on the other side.
Yeah.
We lose.
We seen that movie before. We have the example already in Torah. Don't repeat the same mistake.
Yeah, I'm out. Children are. I told them, I'm like, listen, y'all know y'all came up being warned about this.
You gonna miss the Zion train trying to go back and get somebody else.
Zion train is coming. It ain't even got to stop for me, baby. You ain't even got to stop. I'll jump on.
Very line. Cain says.
Yes, ma'am.
Cain,
I pray to see you on
see you in the wilderness. I pray.
Mm.
Cain. When the bombs is falling on every side of us, but it ain't hitting us. Hydrogen thermonuclear bombs.
Baby, look. When that Zion train coming our way, Zion train is coming our way.
Now here's the thing, fam. We've been having crazy issues with our internet.
Oh, yeah.
So we said we was gonna jump straight into the reading, but the testimony took us into that very good conversation. But let's go ahead and jump into this, and we can pick up the conversation again at the end. And that way, if the internet cuts off on us, you know, I can work the editing thing out, and we will have had our reading.
My little dog, man, temperaments. Yeah, I gotta excuse him. He got the Napoleon complex.
When that mountain split in two, Cain says.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think we're picking up with you this week, but I'm not sure. What say you?
Well, hey, whatever we do, let's do it. What you say earlier?
Who read first lesson?
I cram to understand.
All right.
Okay. You said we're picking up at 16?
I believe we're on chapter 16. Is that right?
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
All right. And Yahuah said to Samuel, how long are you going to mourn for Saul? Seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel. Fill your horn with oil and go. I am sending you to Yeshua, the Bethlehemite.
So if you're reading that in the KJV, or if you're not, just so you know, that's Jesse of Bethlehem.
Of Bethlehem.
Okay.
Wow, okay. For I have seen among his sons a sovereign for myself.
Real quick, and I'm not gonna do this too much, but text in a row, if you know what Bethlehem means in English. It's a Hebrew place, but it also, Hebrew words have meaning, right?
Mhm.
So if you know what Bethlehem means, text it in the chat. Raise your hand in here if y'all know what Bethlehem means. Bethlehem. Anybody? Anybody in chat? Bethlehem?
Right. Mm-mm.
Not quite.
We say it in, it's because I said she got it. We
Go
say
ahead,
it in the
type in
prayer.
the text, Coach. It's
We
all
say it
good.
in the prayer.
Not quite.
Type it in, so see if you got it.
Go to Natasha. You say you got it. You can type it in the chat. It's interesting. Hallelujah. So house of bread, house of bread. But it's interesting because this is the place where Messiah came out of. And so if we understand not just the physical, but the spiritual, so when we say give us this day our daily bread, we're not just talking about food. We're talking about spiritual understanding, right? We're talking about give us this day as we go into Shabbat, spiritual bread, good food, right? We're talking about as we deal with unleavened bread, Dawid did t-shirts. We're not just talking about literal bread, we're talking about bread that is pure and doesn't have the leaven or the teachings of the Pharisees. Messiah was that bread. And he was born out of Bethlehem, the house of bread. Just interesting side notes. We're in chapter 16.
Okay,
I apologize. Bethlehem, for I have seen.
okay. And Samuel said, how would I go? When Saul hears it, he shall kill me. And Yahuah said, take a heifer with you and say, I have come to slaughter to Yahuah. And you shall invite Jesse to the slaughtering. Then let me show you what to do. And you shall anoint for me the one I say to you. And Samuel did what Yahuah said and went to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming and said, you come in peace. And he said, in peace, I have come to slaughter to Yahuah. Set yourselves apart. They thought he was bringing, bruh, who is it? Because I told him, remember when I told you that I said don't do that. Now look at it. Here comes Samuel.
Here comes Samuel. With the wrath of
Yahuah, you know, this whole town to be burnt to the ground. No. And so Samuel did, okay. He said in peace, set yourselves apart, and you shall come with me to the slaughtering. And he set Jesse and his sons apart and invited them to the slaughtering. And it came to be when they came that he saw Eliab and thought the anointed one of Yahuah is indeed before him.
Real quick, this is funny to me because here we see how man, and even a righteous man, because Samuel was righteous, how man views men versus how Yah views men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's kind of like I was telling that I go to Tahisha. You know what I'm saying? When you have that kind of pressure on you, then whatever it is he's trying to show you is urgent. Right. He chooses who he wants to do these missions. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you may think, I'm sight impaired. Surely he can't. You know what I'm saying? He chooses who he wants. And if he putting that kind of pressure on you, then you need to find out what it is he wants you to do, sister. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have that kind of pressure. Okay. You know what I mean?
So he sees Eliab and he's like, oh, this got to be him.
This got to be him. You know what I'm saying? But Yahuah said, Samuel, do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For not as man sees, for man looks at the eyes, but Yahuah looks at the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither has Yahuah chose this one. Next, Jesse made Shammah pass by. And he said, neither has Yahuah chosen this one. And Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel.
Man, this guy got a lot of children. A lot of sons.
And Samuel said to Jesse, Yahuah has not chosen these. And Samuel said to Jesse, are these all the young men? And he said, well, there remains yet the youngest. And see, he tended to the sheep. And I know you ain't talking to the boy. And Samuel says, Jesse, send and bring him, for we do not turn around till he comes here. And he sent and he brought him in, and he was ruddy, with bright eyes, and handsome. And Yahuah said, arise and anoint him, for this is the one. And Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. And the spirit of Yahuah came upon David from that day and onwards. And Samuel arose and went to Ramah. And the spirit of Yahuah turned aside from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahuah troubled him. And the servants of Saul said to him, look now, an evil spirit from Yahuah is troubling you. Please let our master command your servants who are before you to seek out a man who is skilled player of the lyre. And it shall be that when the evil spirit from Elohim is upon you, that he shall play with his hand, and you will be well. And Saul said to his servants, please get me a man that plays well and bring him to me. Now, keep in mind, Saul is the king. So the king of Israel. So his counselors or his spiritual men would have been men of Yah. So they would have been men who the Most High speaks to. So not like Balaam, who was like Pharaoh's wise man,
Right.
These are all spiritual men, Balaam included, but it's what spirit they communicate with to give them the information they have.
Not like Nimrod's spiritual.
Cain, you know what I'm saying? So no, these men weren't per se more powerful than Samuel, but they still was powerful enough that Abiyah was able to communicate messages.
So it was his righteous counsel.
Cain.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they were men of Yah, and they knew what Yah was doing too.
Well, they knew only what Abiyah revealed to them.
Yah was dealing with Samuel. Told Samuel to go straight to Jesse.
Yeah.
That was between Yah, Samuel, and Jesse at this point.
Yeah.
Had Samuel revealed all of that to Saul, remember what Samuel said? Saul might have killed him. So he went to anoint who was going to be Yah's chosen leader, while man's defunct leader was still in office, was still holding the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like what ended up happening.
It's a lot of politics here.
Yeah, but Abiyah showed them that Saul was being plagued by evil spirit,
right,
and that he needed to seek somebody of the lyre. They're so specific. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's something Abiyah. So Abiyah is going to set up David in the kingdom.
This, you know what I'm saying? This is it almost reminds me of how Moses was placed in the basket. Right? So this was Yah's doing. Nobody could presume or assume or predict that Moses was going to be picked up by who he was picked up by. And then the sister says, oh, should I go get one of the Israelite women to breastfeed? Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take him. He's not going to die.
Yeah.
This was all Yah.
Yeah. So he set it up so that this evil spirit from Yah, now this is the spirit that Yah sent on Saul, is plaguing him unless he hears the lyre, this instrument. Okay. So and it shall be that when the evil spirit from Elohim is upon you, that he shall play with his hand and you be well. And Saul said to his servants, please give me a man that plays well and bring him to me. And one of the servants answered and said, look, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, who knows how to play a brave one. Who knows how to play? He's a brave one, a man of battle, and skilled in words, and a handsome man, and Yahuah is with him. So Saul sent the messengers to Jesse and said, send me your son David, who is with the sheep. And Jesse took a donkey loaded with bread and a skin of wine and a young goat and sent them by his son Dawid to Shaul. And Dawid came to Shaul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. So Dawid had such a presence, you know, that as soon as Saul saw him, he was like, I like this kid. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he saw him. And Saul therefore sent Jesse, saying, please let Dawid stand before me, for he has found favor in my eyes. And it came to be, whenever the evil spirit from Elohim was upon Saul, that Dawid would take a lyre and play it with his hand. Then Saul will become refreshed and well, and the evil spirit will leave him.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
You know what I can't help but think of when I read that is all throughout my church days and Sunday school, the image of that frail, skinny Gentile David with Saul's armor all big and hanging off of him.
Yeah. It say here, he was young, but just imagine how his
still a young man.
Yeah.
Young Israelite man.
So imagine how the parents, his older brothers must have been. But it said here when his father didn't even think to, because in the Hebrew standard, he wasn't a man yet. Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he was probably like 18 or 19.
But it don't mean he was frail. So like,
no, it don't mean he was frail.
I think about like high school and college athletes, right? Mm-hmm. At the height of their game. Mm-hmm. High school and college athletes may be in the top percentile as far as their performance, and you can tell this is an athletic freak. Mm-hmm. But when they stand next to a professional athlete, once they get drafted, they go stand next to the pros. Yeah. And a lot of times they got to tell them, say, well, you're dealing with grown men now. Yeah. Right. And so that's what I think about in reality. Dawid was already at a place where he was dealing with protecting the sheep. I mean, he dealt with lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Mm-hmm. And
he was already gifted. So we already knew that Abiyah was already with him because he had this talent. He had a gift. What he could do with that instrument was beyond amazing. You know what I'm saying? So he already had a gift, and I'm sure his father probably didn't show him because he wanted to he wanted to kind of hold on to him a little bit, you know what I'm saying, keep him close, because he was a gifted child.
The Dawid the rhymer, the freestyler, freestyle artist. Okay. Moving on to chapter 17. And the Philistines had gathered their armies for battle and came together at Soko, which belonged to Yahuah, and encamped between Soko and Azekah in Ephes Damim. And Shaul and the men of Israel were gathered and encamped in the valley of Elah and drew up in battle array to meet who but the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, with the valley in between them. Then a champion came out from the camp of the Philistines named Goliath from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits a span. Was Goliath the Philistine?
Yes. Well, no, he was rolling with the Philistines.
He was from Gath, but he was their champion.
Didn't we find out that Gath was of the lineage of Ham?
Maybe. I can't remember.
And Goliath was a Hamite?
No, Goliath.
But the Philistines is Hamites.
Philistines is Hamites. But Goliath obviously was mixed. He was some kind of Nephilim. He was a giant.
Picture not their skin tone, but picture that scene in Troy. Y'all ever seen that movie Troy? Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. Y'all stop this deal. Stop texting. Y'all getting me in trouble.
Remember that movie Troy? When Archimedes goes to take over this other kingdom, and he in the way they operate in this time and in this era is they don't go and destroy a nation to take over a nation. They come up to that nation, they roll over with their army, you meet up with your army, and they say, I got my champion here. Mm-hmm. Instead of spending all day fighting and killing all these men, how about my champion taking on your champion? Dang. And if my champion win, you go ahead and submit, because obviously I would demolish all your men. So if my champion wins, you submit to this individual who is taking this title King of Kings, right? Which means he's going to be a king, but now he's over your kingdom as well. And so that's what was going on here. The Philistines wanted to rule these Israelites, but they didn't necessarily feel like they needed to kill all of them to rule them. It's like, sing a champion. So that's what's going on here. Verse 4. Then a champion came out of the Philistines named Goliath from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And a bronze helmet was on his head. You can look up what a cubit is on Google. If you got a scriptures translation, the measurements are in the back of the book.
Wasn't they saying like he was like 14 feet, something like
13,
that?
14,
13, 14 feet.
So that was the height of giants post-flood.
That dude was
We
huge.
believe they were taller than that before the flood.
Yeah.
Four brothers, they was all different.
They was all different.
Yeah,
I see it.
Like one of
Yeah.
his brothers was just like
7 feet. Yeah, but he was still enough.
But Dawid wasn't no shrimp.
No.
Dawid probably was standing like 9 feet.
Mhm.
Dawid wasn't no shrimp, I'm telling you.
Verse 5, and a bronze helmet was on his head, and he was armed with a scaled armor, and the weight of the coat was about 5,000 shekels of bronze. Where did they get these scales from this armor? Like, why did they have the mindset to make their armor look like scales? Just curious. And bronze shin guards on his legs, and bronze spears between his shoulders. And the wood of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his iron spearhead weighed 600 shekels. His spear, just the spearhead, 600 shekels. And a shield bearer went before him, and he stood and shouted to the armies of Israel and said to them, oh my goodness, why have you come out to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And you, the servants of Saul, choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to me. And if he is able to fight with me and shall strike me, then we shall be your servants. You want to split this one up? Let's split it up. Yeah, let's split it up. Let's even the next one short. Let's do 25, 29, 29. Okay. If he is able to fight with me and shall strike me, then we shall be your servants. But if I overcome him and shall strike him, then you shall be our servants and serve us. Then the Philistine said, this day I shall reproach the armies of Israel. This is a real threat. Give me a man, let us fight together. And Shaul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistines, and they were broken down and in great fear. Now, Dawid was the son of the Ephraim of Bethlehem in Yehudah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons. And in the days of Shaul, the man was old among men.
Wait a minute, what did we just, Ephraim? So Dawid was an Ephraim and Judah?
So one of his parents was Ephraimite.
And the other one was Judea.
Sounds like.
That's why.
Okay.
Boom, that's it.
And the 3 oldest sons of Jesse went and had gone to follow Shaul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons who went to the battle were Eliab, everything's encompassed between Ephraim, the 10 tribes of Judah.
Yeah.
Where Eliab, the firstborn, and his second, Benadab, and the third, Shammah. And Dawid was the youngest, and the 3 oldest followed Shaul. But Dawid went and returned from Shaul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And for 40 days, the Philistines drew near, morning and evening, and took his stand. The Philistine, and took his stand. And Jesse said to his son Dawid, please take to your brothers an ephah of this dried grain and these 10 loaves, and run to your brothers at the camp. And take these 10 cheeses to the commander of the thousands and see how your brothers are. So your brother's chief, lieutenant, so he can let you get to your brothers. And bring back news of them. For Shaul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. And Dawid rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a herdsman and took and went as Jesse had commanded him, and he came to the camp as the army was going out to the fight, and they shouted for the battle. And Israel and the Philistines drew up in battle array, army against army. And David left. Lost my place. Give me 1 second. 22. And David told, I left his supplies in the hand of the keeper of the supplies, and ran to the army, and came and greeted his brothers. And he was speaking with them, and saw the champion, Goliath, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, coming up from the armies of the Philistines. And he spoke according to the same words, and David heard. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, ran from him and were in great fear. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man who has come up? For he has come up to reproach Israel. And it shall be that the man who strikes him, the sovereign is going to enrich him with great riches, and give him his daughter, and give him his father's house, exemption, him and his father's house, and give him his father's house exemption in Israel. Tax exemption. You ain't got to pay taxes.
Oh,
basically, is what it's saying.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, they was taxing back then. And David spoke to the man who stood by and said, wait a minute. You said tax exemption. Saying, what shall be done for the man who strikes this Philistine? What you said?
David probably was just doing it for his daughter, Saul's daughter. That's the kind of character David was. Like, I can marry her?
You're gonna marry the daughter, you're gonna get great riches, and your father's house don't pay taxes no more.
Yeah, David was
Like,
like,
come on.
David was about that.
I see no loss. Where do I lose at here? What shall be done for the man who strikes this Philistine, and shall take away the reproach from Israel? Well, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Anyway,
Uncircumcised Philistine.
that he should reproach the armies of the living power, Yahuah. And the people answered him according to this word, saying, this is what is done for the man who strikes him. And Eliab, his oldest brother, heard when he spoke to the man, and Eliab's displeasure, like Joseph, burned against David. And he said, why did you even come here? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know your pride and the evil of your heart, for you have come down to see battle. You just bloodthirsty. And David said, now what have I done? Was it not but a word? I ain't all I did was speak. So it was ask questions.
Let me tell you what kind of character David is. David reminded me so much of my youngest child.
It's already over.
He, the way they was like, he's a brave man. You know what I'm saying? David probably was a bad kid. You know what I'm saying?
Would you use the word bad?
Would you call? No.
Smart, intelligent. Sometimes y'all confuse. All parents say that about their child. Everybody else in the world telling your child that parent can't never see.
Oh, but you know what I'm saying? David was a rascal. You know what I'm saying? He was about to and didn't have enough sense to be afraid of anything.
Intuitive,
right?
That's all.
He didn't have
inquisitive even.
They say he ain't got enough sense to be afraid. That boy ain't got enough sense to be scared.
That's definitely my son.
Oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? And so this is the kind of person he was. And so his brother like, man, get on before you get killed. You know what I'm saying? Where them sheep at? Go tend to the sheep. Yeah. That's their baby.
What you doing up here? I know what you're doing. You just came over here to see some blood.
Right. He the baby of him. This ain't no video game. It's real life, man. So that we like, I ain't do nothing. So, okay, it says, and he turned around from him toward another and said the same word. And these people answered him a word like the first word. And when the words with which David spoke were heard, they reported them to Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Don't be afraid of this dude.
But yours.
Your servant is going and shall fight with this Philistine. So David, I'm about that life. I go. And Saul said to David, you are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you just a kid. And he a man of battle from his youth. And David said to Saul, your servant has been tending sheep for his father. And when a lion came or a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock, I went out after it. I struck it, and I rescued it from its mouth. And when it rose against me, I took hold of it by its beard, and I struck it, and I killed it.
That is a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
You're talking about a lion or a bear.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
So it's obvious that we got some power. You know what I'm saying? So
He's not scared.
your servant has stricken both lion and bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, seeing he has reproached the armies of the living power.
I'm just curious though, like for real. If you was able to say that you killed a lion and a bear, is there any man on earth that you think you might be afraid of?
And not just killed them, he rescued the little lamb.
I took the lamb from its mouth.
I took the lamb from its mouth.
Saying something.
You know what I'm saying? So he tell him, and David said, Yahuah, who delivered me from the paws of that lion and from the paw of the bear, he does deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. And Saul says, David, go, and may Yah be with you. And Saul dressed David with his garments, and he put a bronze helmet on his head and put a coat of armor on him. And David girded his sword over his garments and began to go, but he had not tried them. Then David said to Saul, you know, on second thought, see, I'm not able to go with these. I can't use these. For I have not tried them. I mean, I haven't practiced with them. I don't know these weapons.
These are your weapons.
So David took them off. Like, take all this crap off. It's just too much. And he took his staff in his hand and chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the wadi and put them in his shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand. He drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came and began drawing near to David. And the man who bore the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he despised him, for he was young and ruddy and handsome in appearance.
Imagine what Goliath looked like.
You know what I'm saying? So he looked like, so you know what somebody despises. First thing they do is start doing what? Hating.
Goliath stank, as one of my daughters would say.
Right. So, you know, first thing he did was start hating on David. Just look, man, if you don't get this child, whose child is this? Come get your child. They're playing on the battlefield.
I'll send him back to you.
You know what I'm saying? So then the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come with a stick? And the Philistine cursed David by his mighty ones. And the Philistine said to David, come to me and give your flesh to the birds of the heavens, the beasts of the field.
And I give you a flesh there.
It's hard to talk tough with a shotgun in your mouth.
Telling you.
You know what I'm saying? But David said to the Philistine, you come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of Yahuah of hosts, the power of the armies of Israel, whom you have reproached. This day Yahuah shall deliver you into my hand, and I shall strike you and take your hair from you, and give the carcasses of the camp of the Philistines today to the birds of the heavens and the wild beasts of the earth, so that all the earth know that Elohim of Israel is real, Jack. And all okay.
No, finish that.
And all this assembly know that Yahuah does not save with the sword and with the spear, for the battle belongs to Yahuah, and he shall give you into our hands.
Contrast. Saul just went into battle previously, when we read last week, and Saul took things he wasn't supposed to take as souvenirs, built a monument to himself, and then by the time Samuel came back, he said, no, I did everything your God told me to do. Right?
Yeah.
Here we got the champion of the Philistines cursing David by his gods. And David didn't say nothing about himself, not once.
Not one.
He said, I come to you in the name of Elohim, who is the power of the army of Israel. And today he gonna give you over into my hands to let the world know that he is the one who is in control of this.
Yeah.
So in every word he said, he was given the authority and the power to Elohim, to Yahuah. Every word he said, this is why I believe David was a man after Yahuah's heart.
Saul out there taking selfies. You know, the selfies of yesterday was statues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He out there like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why David about that life? You know what I'm saying? I know.
Vogue.
My man, is that a statue of you? So quick. You only been out here like 3 weeks. So like,
yeah. What you doing?
while they were supposed to be fighting, you had them building damn statue of you, man. Stay focused, bro. So, and he came to be. When the Philistine arose and came and drew near to meet Dawid, that Dawid hurried and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And Dawid put his hand in his bag and took out a stone and slung it and struck the Philistine on his forehead, so that the stone sank into his forehead. He fell on his face to the ground. Thus Dawid was stronger than the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. And there was no sword in the hand of Dawid. Then Dawid ran and stood over the Philistine and took his sword. And let me show you how Dawid couldn't have been no little chump. He picked up that Philistine sword. Now we just heard that was a huge sword. Dawid was not Dawid was not a little guy. You know what I'm saying? The Philistine was just that much bigger, but he wasn't no little guy. Dawid picked up his sword and drew it out of his sheath and killed him and cut off his head with it. And when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and the Yahudah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines as far as the entrance of the valley and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell along the way at Sharim, even as far as Gath and Ekron. The children of Israel turned back from chasing the Philistines, and they plundered their camp. And Dawid took the head of the Philistines and brought it to Jerusalem. But he put his weapon in his tent. And when Saul saw Dawid going out against the Philistines, he said to Abner, the commander of the army, Abner, whose son is this you? And Abner said, as your being lives, O sovereign, I do not know.
You got a name for yourself now.
And just to show you how big that the king already knew Dawid. He saw Dawid played the lyre for him. He liked him, but he forgot him just that quick. And the sovereign said, ask whose son this young man is. And when Dawid returned from the striking of the Philistines, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, whose son are you?
Young man.
Young man. And Dawid said, the son of the servant Jesse from Bethlehem. The Bethlehemite. So Saul had just talked to the boy. Told the boy to go fight. Go do what you do.
He was his armor bearer.
Armor bearer. he played the
gave him his armor. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this was a king. So kings got a lot going on. You know.
Oh, you don't remember the man who plays the music that caused the demons to leave you.
You got a lot going on. It's kind of like, there was a president who I got a cigarette from once upon a time. Now I remember it because I got a cigarette from a president.
Hey,
but you think he gonna remember it?
We ain't gonna say his name, but let's just say he smoked Newports.
He smoked Newports.
So whatever president you think might have smoked Newport, but he wasn't president at the time.
He wasn't president at the time, but he was campaigning. You know what I'm saying? And so but he ain't gonna remember. These men, they have so many people that they come in contact with daily. You know what I mean?
But look at this. So that Shaul was so big that he wouldn't remember Dawid. But was Dawid and his family a lowly peasant family? They were not. Remember, when he left, who did he leave in charge of the shepherds? Not Newports. That was something different. But anyway, who did Dawid leave in charge of the sheep? A servant. They had servants. They was well off. Something else I thought of too. This valley where they fought this fight. You're going to read about this valley again in the so-called New Testament, and it's gonna say this is Golgotha. Remember, this guy was from Gath. This place is called Golgotha in the New Testament, and it translates to the Valley of the Skull. And so there's some incidents that happened in the so-called New Testament in the exact same place that we just read this thing happen.
And then what's the significance of that? You know what I'm saying? Once you get, some of you probably already know the event that happened, but once you get there and you see what happened, and look at us avoiding spoilers, like we reading not reading the script.
No, I'm gonna try to keep on in. And keep going forward in your reading.
Okay. And then, you got to wonder, like, what's the significance of that taking place right at this place?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. So.
The Valley of the Skull.
Yep.
Okay, chapter 18. And it came to be when he had ended speaking to Shaul that the being of Jonathan was knit to the being of David. That's, remember, Shaul's son. And Jonathan loved him the same way he loved his own being. And Shaul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house anymore. He just wanted him the kingdom, for all he knew. And Jonathan, and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own being. And Jonathan took off the robe that was on him and gave it to David, and his garments, even his sword and his bow and his girdle. And
I'm sorry, excuse me.
yeah, go ahead.
So this is the story of David and Jonathan is one of the stories that the homosexuals use to prove that Abiyah, did not frown on their relationships.
Yeah.
Because they said that King David was in fact a homosexual.
Oh, okay.
And that's the reason why I put the story of David and Monroe showing them as boys, like showing what this relationship was like. I mirrored this relationship of Jonathan and David in the story of David and Monroe to show that when it said he gave him of his garments and gave him of his clothes and stuff, you know what I'm saying? It
didn't say they got naked in front of each other, but we just read about David taking his father's stuff and it not fitting. Now, Jonathan is his father's son, and his father's son, after he's seeing David winning his father the kingdom, was like, something about you, I'm with you, and he starts giving him things that are now befitting of him. You're no longer going home to your father. You're gonna be here with us, but you're gonna be I got you.
You my brother.
My father ain't got time for you, but you are now my brother.
You are now my brother.
I've experienced that. Like I've experienced having a friend that I was raised with from childhood that was not my biological brother, but was like my brother. Literally took baths together. It was nothing homosexual. We weren't even old enough to have erections yet. No, I'm just
or a say, your parents put you on the bath.
Or a say, but I'm just saying, just to be honest.
Yeah.
But by the time we got older, we had those common experiences where it's like we're bonded together. You know what I'm saying? This is the only individual that I could say that was not my blood relative that I felt that way about. It's my brother. You can't tell me no different. So I get it. Now, for them to take that and try to taint it with something else.
They completely took this story and they was like, there was a homosexual relationship in the Bible, and God didn't frown on it. Talking about Jonathan and David.
Right. So, we'll keep reading and see if we see anything legit there to what they say, but I don't think we find anything.
There was a scene, I guess, where they hadn't seen each other in a while, and they said they hugged each other, fell on each other, and kissed each other, or something like that. So you know what that is. You know how men, when they see each other, they knock each other. Why ain't see
So in the so-called New Testament, it says, "Greet your brothers with a set apart kiss."
Right.
That's what it's talking about.
And a lot of bros do that. So when you see two men, it's what I call in the stories the bro hug. They clasp hands, and then they boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men greet each other that way. Because that was the old way. That was the way that the scripture told us, for the men to greet each other. Women, but
okay. Verse 5. And David went out wherever Shaul sent him. He acted wisely, and Shaul set him over the men of battle. So now he's growing up. And it was right in his eyes, in the eyes of all people, and also in the eyes of Shaul's servants. And it came to be, as they came in, as David was returning from striking the Philistine, that the women came out from all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet Shaul the king with tambourines, with joy, and with musical instruments. And the women sang as they danced and said, Shaul struck his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Shaul didn't like that.
I know.
He was upset. And this matter was evil in his eyes, because he was the king. And he said, to David, they have given 10,000s. To me, they have given thousands. So What more for him except the kingdom?
Wow. So
Like,
what's next?
You done already gave him
He the king now?
basic. And from that day on, you're gonna see it. Shaul eyed Dawid.
Y'all
Now,
know
you
what
know
that
there's some
means.
rules.
You know the side eye. Look.
No number of rules know that don't that eye like that. We originated that eye. You ready?
Side eye.
From that day on, Shaul eyed Dawid. And it came to be on the next day that an evil spirit from Elohim, from who? From Elohim, came upon Shaul.
Oh my goodness.
And he prophesied inside the house while Dawid was playing the lyre with his hand as usual. And the spear was in the hand of Shaul. Ooh. And Shaul hurled the spear, for he said, let me strike Dawid even to the wall.
Dang.
That means his goal was to put that spear through Dawid and nail Dawid to the wall.
Dang.
That's the way he threw that spear at him.
Dang.
But twice, Dawid withdrew from his presence. And Shaul was afraid of Dawid because Yahuah was with him. But Shaul, he had turned away.
So the way in which Dawid avoided that spear was in such a way, in such a extraterrestrial way, that it made Shaul scared.
Yeah.
So if Dawid
it proved it confirmed to Shaul that Yah was no longer with him, but Yah was with Dawid.
came, so you was dealing with some extraordinary events and people.
Yeah.
And so they in a palace, this rich palace, and show private chambers, and some mysterious things happened. Cain, you know what I'm saying? He threw that spirit. He's sitting, and it's scripture say like an evil spirit came upon Saul.
Remember, Shaul was a killer in his own right.
Yeah.
Before Dawid.
So Saul got it in his head, nothing. Once that spirit stepped in, I'm gonna kill this dude. And he, like, you know what I'm saying, that the spirit gave him power too.
Yeah.
So he called that thing as if to nail Dawid to the wall, and something snatched Dawid up out of the way. Dawid busy playing the lyre, you know what I'm saying? Sure, yeah.
That's what all this thing.
Yeah. So you know, the spirit, the evil spirit of Elohim came upon him. So this was Yah's test.
Let's take that thought even deeper though, because if we're talking about the spirit that was trying to remove Dawid from the equation, just like the spirit that was trying to remove Abraham from the equation, if this spirit could have removed Dawid, if it could have, you're talking about no lineage that Hamashiach comes through, no deliverance for the nation, thereby no deliverance for the world. Thereby, if you couldn't save them, you might as well save all of us.
Yeah.
We were talking about deserving. If you could get rid of Dawid, your prized possession, and you can get rid of them being separate, then you have to realize maybe if you don't save anybody, you might as well save them.
And that also show you a little bit more about the Most High. And you know what I'm saying? Because this evil spirit came from Yah. The devil came from Yah. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, you know, Yah is the creator of good and evil. And a lot of people don't want to face that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. But we read in the beginning what certain things he created, he said, that's good. Certain things he created, he did not say it was good.
That's right.
Certain things he created, he said was good. So he created these things, and he's putting together life. So believe it or not, Abiyah is still creating life.
As we speak. Life everlasting.
Okay. So in this 7-day theory, he's still creating life. So at the end of this creation period, at the end of this 7 days, when we go into that day 8, it's going to be complete. It's going to be everything that he said was good. This is good. You know what I'm saying? Evil has to exist. It has to exist in order for us to.
It's part of the filtering process.
Yeah, it's got to exist.
How do you get good, clean water without a filter?
I know.
You can pull water from the river and all that. If it's not a natural spring, how do you make it clean without a filter?
how do you make it clean with without some of the impurities that's in the unclean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Go to Latasha.
So when we was talking about as far as like if he was to kill Dawid, but it made me think of when Cain killed Abel, but then he still gave him Shem, and then he had Shem because he thought he was stopping it with Abel, but he brought Shem through. Then when Judah had his sons and they was doing what they were doing because they knew the line was going to come. I mean, Seth, I'm sorry, you're right, Seth. But they knew the line was going to come through Judah, and he murdered both of his sons. But then Tamar ended up having his children, and the line still came through. So then even if he would have killed Dawid, some way, somehow, the Most High plan was still going to happen no matter what. He was just trying to figure out a way to stop it, knowing that he can't stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like you see this father allowing his two sons to compete for the, and one of the sons through some treachery got the rule of this first earth, this first world. Of the world. You know what I'm saying?
The lower kingdom.
Right. But then the world to come, because it's not good. He didn't say that this son's performance is not good. It's not, as the creator of all, you know what I'm saying, what you talking about ain't good. And I've given you time to prove how this works, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But, and so,
But I'm also giving you time to lure anybody who
is of you.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put it another way. Who is eating of your fruit? If you take it back to the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Anybody who's eating of your fruit, who is digesting all that, what you talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who you giving rhythm to, however you want to phrase that. If they feeling you, they can go with you.
And I'm also giving time, like something I read today in Second Baruch, and every time I see this, it stuns me. When the Most High say, I remember those who are yet to be.
Yeah, it's outside of our time.
What?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's also giving time for those who are taking of the sun, the light, the sun that he said is good. Who is taking of that, who ain't even here yet. He said, I remember, because everybody, like even us, we like, okay, we here now. Let the end come in our time. Let's do it.
I want to see it right now.
You know what I'm saying? But he like, whoa. I'm remembering those who are yet to be. Now, wrap your mind around that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ten, 11, 12. 13. Verse 13 in chapter 18. Shaul therefore removed him from his presence and made him his commander over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. I want y'all to also remember how Pharaoh's advisors treated Moses. Pharaoh's advisors knew Moses was going to be a problem for Pharaoh. Pharaoh's advisors knew Moses was there for Pharaoh's crown. They sent Moses out at the front of all their military expeditions, hoping and praying that Moses never made it back. He's doing the same thing. He sent him as a captain over 1,000 and went out and came in before the people. And Dawid was acting wisely in all his ways, and Yahuah was with him.
So let me tell you what that means. Dawid, when they say Dawid is the kind of guy that, remember, we read about him like barking like a dog trying to appear crazy to get out of a situation.
Yeah.
So Dawid is the kind of guy that can read the room. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when they say he was acting wisely, that means he like, man, I need to lay low, dude on some jealous stuff. So don't let me, you know what I'm saying, be out here being boastful and foolish. Let me lay low.
Didn't tell me to do nothing different.
Okay. So Dawid remained humble, remained like, Seth, Saul, you the man, you know what I'm saying? You have very big, you the guy. Where I saw, it don't happen what I saw. Saul, you the man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Acting wisely. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Oh, is it, remember?
No,
What we
I
doing,
just lost
15,
that place.
15? Yeah, 15, 15.
Oh, and Shaul saw that he was acting very wisely and was afraid of him. Go ahead.
But all Israel and Yehudah loved Dawid as he went out and came in before them.
Mhm.
And Saul said to Dawid, see my older daughter Merab, I give her to you as a wife. Only be brave for me and fight the battles of Yahuah. For Saul thought, let not my hand be against him, but let the hand of the Philistines be against him.
The Philistines killed him.
And Dawid said to Saul, who am I? And what is my life or my father's clan in Israel that I should be a son-in-law to the king? Him acting wisely. And it came to be at that time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to Dawid, that she was given to Adriel, the Molathite, as a wife. And Michael, Saul's daughter, loved Dawid. And they told Saul, and the matter was right in his eyes. And Saul said, let me give her to him, and let her be a snare to him, and the hand of the Philistines be against him. So Saul said to Dawid a second time, become my son-in-law today. So it was something about McCall.
But that's the one he likes. That's all. It sounds
Yeah.
like.
No, she liked him. She loved him.
But it looked like he liked her too.
He was supposed to get Merab. Remember?
Yeah, but later on, I don't want to be a spoiler, but later on, somebody else get her, and he go back and get her back.
Well, for principle. For principle.
That was his wife.
So, but for some reason, Saul thought she was gonna be a snare for whatever reason. Maybe she was like gorgeous, and he thought maybe Dawid would get distracted by all that loving and fall in battle. I don't know. But for some reason, Saul thought this was gonna be a snare to Dawid. And Saul commanded his servants, speak to Dawid gently and say, see, the sovereign has delighted in you, and all the servants have loved you, and now be the sovereign's son-in-law. And the servants of Saul spoke those words in the hearing of Dawid, and Dawid said, does it seem to you a small matter to be a sovereign son-in-law, seeing as I am a poor man and lightly esteemed?
Speaking wisely.
Right, so he see that they come in gently, so he peeping game.
My father got
Like-
money, but I don't have money.
Yeah,
What,
so
what am I gonna give her?
the way in which you're speaking to me,
Mhm.
does it seem like a light thing? Should there be some kind of excitement or some kind of, and the servants of Saul told him, saying, Dawid has spoken according to these words. And Saul said, say to Dawid, the sovereign has no delight in any payment for the bride, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines to take vengeance
Yeesh.
on the sovereign's enemies.
He didn't think he was gonna make it.
But Saul intended to have Dawid fall by the hand of the Philistines. And his servants declared these words to Dawid, and it pleased Dawid well to become the sovereign's son-in-law.
That I could do.
You like-
That's what he said.
That is
Oh,
makes sense.
you don't want no money?
Right,
That I could do.
right. And the days had not expired. And Dawid arose and went, he and his men, and struck 200 men of the Philistines. You need 100? You go 200.
Mhm.
And Dawid brought their foreskins. So
We all know what foreskins are.
He told his men
Did you-
to go around the month.
do you need?
Did
He-
everybody
he-
grab you a bucket?
He cut off their peat weavers. And they set them before the king.
You ask for them. I don't know what you're gonna do with them, but you ask for them.
Oh my goodness, to become the sovereign's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, as a wife. And Saul saw and knew that Yahuah was with Dawid. And Michal, daughter of Saul, did love him. So then Saul was still more afraid of Dawid. And Saul came to be an enemy of Dawid all the days. And the princes of the Philistines went out to fight. And it came to be, whenever they went out, that Dawid acted more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name came to be very precious.
Let me tell y'all something. This Saul Dawid thing get heavy.
You do.
I know some of y'all know, but for those that don't know, this Saul and Dawid thing gets heavy. And I don't know why I saw ask for some foreskins, but now he said that's what you into.
I think it was like a spite thing.
I'm
He
being
didn't think
funny
he was
when I
gonna
say
do
that.
He didn't think he was gonna.
Yeah, he didn't think he was gonna do it, and he thought that Dawid was gonna die in the process. He didn't think he was gonna get his daughter. And so that's why I say jokingly, you know, as Dawid might have, I don't know, in my imagination, I don't know what you needed him for, but there you go.
Pull them britches down. Cut off the tip of them. And even
Dang,
his men
you're right,
probably was
sis.
like, what did you ask us to do? Pull them britches down.
Yeah.
Gotta get these foreskins out.
Yeah. The britches of your head,
And then after they pull the britches down,
then your head.
then it's it.
You might as well not live after that.
Because Dawid was wise. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Dawid was clever. He was very clever. Like, that guy was, you know.
Listen, I can
He was
imagine
swift.
Dawid telling them, what's the use in you going on to live now that you've become a eunuch?
Yeah. Fall on the sword. Fall on your
Yeah,
own
we might as
sword.
well take you on out of your misery.
Wait, you know.
The cave of Adullam came. A eunuch?
Well, they ain't doctors, they warriors. You think they was just you think
I
they
don't-
was
I
surgically
don't know if they was
removing
out-
foreskins?
Look, fam, I don't know if they was out there with scalpels. I know they had swords. I don't know if Dawid took a scalpel. A foreskin is included in what I dropped off.
Right.
He didn't say
You know what I'm
only a
saying?
foreskin.
Man, let me
And
tell you,
listen, I ain't trying to really
you know,
hold on to this
they
meat.
went out there with
Look,
anesthetics.
yeah, I ain't trying to hold on to this meat long
Yeah.
enough to make sure I only get a
Yeah,
foreskin.
you know,
We're gonna be quick about this. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You know,
I make sure my sword's sharp enough. He might even blink before it's gone.
shoot. Like, you know,
Gone.
they went
No.
out there, numb the area,
No.
please. Put those gloves, numb the area.
Your numbness was them guys you was playing to. They didn't numb it for you? Too late.
Too late.
A
And you know,
sharp rock is even worse.
Hey,
Please at least give me a sharp
and you
sword.
know, Dawid, you probably was talking smack like, bruh, you ain't had no reason to live no way.
Okay,
Bruh.
pal, we go open up
Probably
the
be ashamed of yourself. Your wife, she was unhappy. Yeah, I know. No, but yeah, you know. Mhm.
So yeah,
Whew.
family, I'm gonna tell y'all something real quick. I'm gonna make this real quick. Man, I was in Josephus this morning, and I read some things about these priests after the Maccabees. I just want to let y'all know we coming back strong with the next part of that priesthood whenever it happens. I'm not gonna put a time on it. I know better than her, because then people be when it's coming, when it's coming. I can't give you a time, but when I come with it, I'm gonna tell y'all.
I give time.
It's some
Pressure on
stuff.
me too.
I don't need the pressure. I don't need the pressure. When y'all say it's coming, it's coming.
I heard that. I heard that.
But yeah, I'll give y'all a little snippet. I'll give y'all a little snippet of what I saw. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. Shalom, Makoti, Kimmy, come on to the mic.
Okay, I got a quick question because I'm not sure if y'all know, but I think like I don't want to say the newest thing amongst the brews, but it's new to me. It's the whole UFO thing and how UFO means cloud, and when the Messiah comes back, how we know it's not in the UFOs. And I've been seeing like pictures of this one Hebrew artist. He drew and it's a dope picture. It's like all the brews and they got on white and they standing on a mountain, but they're being led there by UFOs. I was talking to this Ark the other day, and we were talking about the UFO. We were talking about the cloud and a pillar of fire, and he was like, "Well, how do you know the cloud isn't a UFO? Because that's another name for a UFO is a cloud." I was like, I never heard that before a day in my life. Like, where y'all getting this stuff from? And I'm like, I never read anything where it says, it's an object that comes to take people away, or this flying object. I know it's somewhere it says, that they come flying down on the Philistines, but I ain't read that it was flying in no UFO. So I wanted to ask that while I had everybody.
So you got something on that?
I mean, I do. You can take it first. I'll put it back.
Okay, so not without a point. They got some. There's some foundation to what they're saying. I don't like to use the term UFO because people think aliens.
Right.
If I use the term UFO, I know that we're discussing angels, Malachim. And so the reference that, I don't know if he gave you or you just made that reference, the reference to the Exodus out of Egypt and into the wilderness told you for sure that there were Malachim operating in the clouds. That's for sure. There was also Malachim operating in the pillar of fire. And so, sis, give me a 7. Just give me a 7. Did you see Nope? If y'all saw Nope, the movie, give me a 7.
7.
Okay. Koti Kimmy, did you see 7? Good deal. Okay. So if you're telling me that in the wilderness outside of Egypt, there was a cloud that stayed still during the day to shield Israel from the sun and only moved when it was time for Israel to move, what you're telling me then is there was a Malachim operating in some capacity, whether he was in control of the cloud or whether he made his transportation look like a cloud, however you want to splice that. He moved when he wanted Israel to move, but it looked like a cloud. The other issue that I would refer you to is Ezekiel chapter 1. Because if you want to understand the inner workings of Malach Yahuah, aka Yahusha, read the first chapter of Ezekiel all the way through from beginning to end, because it gives you what the cloud may have been disguising. In other words, the cloud may have been for humans' eyes,
Right.
but what actually was happening was what Ezekiel described in Ezekiel 1.
Because we wasn't quite ready to see, and remember, they tell us the Messiah coming in the cloud when he returned.
There's another reference. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So he's going to return in the cloud. And so what we know, sis, is that these, what they call unidentified objects, in some cases, when they coming from the Most High, they are covered in cloud. Now, you do have these sightings where, sometimes these unidentified objects appear beyond the cloud, but we know that the devil also shows miracles in the sky. So to get caught up in spaceships and just different things like that, I wouldn't, because the scripture say when the Messiah come back, everybody gonna know. It ain't gonna be like, there ain't gonna be no doubt. It says he gonna cause the heavens to roll up like a scroll. So there's something going on in the heavens where we could see it, but there's a veil of such over it, stopping us from seeing it, preventing us from seeing what's really going on up there. Now I have a theory. And my theory is this. That we are in a fishbowl of such. And if they rolled, if it was revealed to us what was beyond the dome, because obviously I believe there's a dome. And if we
Genesis says there's a dome.
Right. If we could remove the clouds and the substance that's there, that's kind of like a screen of such, preventing us from seeing past it, I believe we will be looking up into something that resembles the ocean, but with huge angels, huge, you know what I'm saying? Big, and we would know just how insignificant we are, because that's scripture that say to the Most High we like ants.
So the Nephilim was like
To the ants, to the Nephilim was like ants. And the Nephilim wasn't as big as their parents. They wasn't as big as the Malachim.
Right.
So the Malachim and their true state, these are huge beings.
Yeah.
So we like Cain. So we like this. Yeah, we like this little minions. We're like this in our little world and our little floating through this.
Think about how y'all look at ants, literally.
Yeah.
Think about how y'all look at any bug that is in your house intruding on your space and you squash it. Like it's insignificant. The Malachim, especially the fallen, would have looked at us in the same way.
Yeah.
You're gonna allow these ants, these grasshoppers, these insignificant things to intrude on what we think is what is it called when it's passed down?
Inheritance.
Our inheritance.
Our inheritance.
We're gonna allow them to intrude on our inheritance.
And there's beef. There's because they were Abiyah's first creation. And this is the problem. The adversary, this is the problem the devil have. He like, and then you're gonna subject me to them
to their judgment.
They
really get to judge me.
You know what I'm saying? But we know there's a time in which Abiyah brings both of these creations together and make one. Kind of like
the righteous.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The righteous angels and the righteous humans, those who make it, they come together and they become one. So you know what I'm saying? So we know he's doing something. And I'm not gonna pretend to know and understand, but the devil has a problem. I can speculate. I got theories.
Yeah.
But the devil has a problem with it. He's like, no, what? I can never, not me. You know.
Just to add to what you're saying, one thing my cousin asked me about, and I'm bringing him because it's fresh on my mind, and we just visited Chicago. He was like, what about the Jacob's ladder? What's up with that? Have you heard of that? What do you think about that? Well, again, let's think about what Jacob laying on his back, looking up at the dome, as Rev said, might have saw. When he said he saw a ladder ascending to the heavens. So you got several layers of heavens, those that are accessible to humans. You can access layers of the heavens. Where birds fly, that's a layer of the heavens. Where airplanes fly, that's another layer above where birds fly. You know it because if you fly above the clouds. So you can see down below the clouds, you can fly above the weather system. If you ain't experienced that before, experience flying above the weather system.
But Jack traveled on his beanstalk.
All that above the clouds, right? There's another level where wherever they sending these things that, these mad scientists are sending people.
Yeah.
Where they sending them slightly above that.
Yeah.
But not outside of that dome or what they refer to as the Van Ryan belt. Not outside of that, because you can't go there, right? And I would just venture to say, for people that's got the money to go up in those spaceships above where the airplanes go, let me refer you to.
Don't say it. Don't say the Titanic.
What's it called?
Titanic thing.
What they call that thing?
Don't say it. You can't
The
say
Titan.
that. Don't say that.
Let me refer you to the Titan. You're going somewhere you might not supposed to be.
You can't say that on YouTube.
I'm just saying, you might want to think carefully about going somewhere you are not supposed to be. Or going extremely close to. Like you want to see how close. It's a dangerous thing. It's like, let me see how close I can get to the line without getting my hand popped.
Oedipus, is it Oedipus in the
Oedipus.
Is that
No. Icarus.
Yeah, with the wings.
Icarus.
Flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. Yes, sis. I'm not trying to get canceled, but Ocean Gate. Yeah.
Oh.
And so there's these different levels of heaven, but then there's this other level where Messiah said, no man goes, right? Except he who came from. And even Messiah, when he was born, had to come legally. Think about that word. Had to come legally, not illegally, like an illegal alien. Think about that. Into the earth through the womb of a woman. and be born in the flesh.
Yep. So think about that.
He had to come legally into this earth's atmosphere and be born through a woman to become in the flesh.
Sure did.
Right?
Sure
But you
did.
want to go back and forth illegally.
And let me show you how it's bull. The fallen angels, why are they called fallen angels? Because they have been kicked out of heaven, or whatever heaven that is they come from.
Right.
So if they kicked out, that means even they can't get back in. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, sure, their inventions, they're trying their very best, but what have we learned about these Malachians? Even the Most High told us in Enoch that they want the brightest of us. That's why they get guard duty.
It was on the door. They was working the door.
You know, they wouldn't, you know, but you chose to make them God.
Top flight security.
Top flight security of the world, Craig.
Craig.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what we've learned about even them. You know what I mean? Hold on. Kota Gabor hand was up. Come on, Kota. Come on back.
I apologize. We ran.
Sorry about that, but I ain't come on.
I don't know why I thought putting my hand down was gonna get me out the hot seat. But what I wanted to say was they are actually using that theory to try to discredit parts of the book of Enoch. I watched a documentary where it was two pastors, a rabbi, and a couple other, religious folks. And in this documentary, they were saying that the book of Enoch, not that the stuff didn't happen. Okay. They're saying it really was aliens. So when Enoch was saying that, that the Most High was coming, what the angels were coming down, they were like, well, it was really a spaceship. And then when they were saying, like, when Enoch was talking about how, the different portals and stuff, they were saying that Enoch was on a spaceship and he was walking through the spaceship and those are the doors that was opening. It's crazy. Like, they are really, it's yeah.
They just added now.
Yes.
I mean, we can all make up something.
But what I found really interesting about everything that they were saying was, okay, now you're not saying that the book of Enoch is not real. Now or the fact that these stories aren't real. Now you're trying to make me believe that ET is out here, you know what I'm saying, over the Most High. Like,
right.
This what y'all do?
Right.
ET?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the kind of mess they be on, because it's kind of like, and I don't want to Akoti answer. No, I'm Akoti Latasha go, and then Akoti Antoinette come on back up here. All right. Okay. Akoti Latasha, go ahead.
I forgot.
You forgot? Oh my goodness.
I forgot. It was oh my God. It did have something to do with so you know how, like, in the book of Job, when they speak when he speak of the devil saying that he went up into the heavens and he visited the heavens when they was having a council meeting. I always think, like, because they say that it wasn't all the way in the heavens, but it was like a level of the heavens that was just above the firmament where he stays, because he's not allowed in the heavens, but he had the council meetings in that area. And I was thinking, like, now if he got kicked out, why he get to go to a meeting in the heavens? And he, well, I mean, of course he's telling him, like, where have you been? And he's telling him, I've been here and I've been there. So I'm just thinking, like, do they all live, like, right there in that mist, like right before the heavens, but above the clouds? You know what I'm saying?
It's different. It's different readings on that, where these angels reside and what level of, or what layer of heaven they reside in. But remember, some of those fathers not beneath the earth. No, he needs some of what it's in her cup. Oh, it's too much. there's different theories on that. Some of them locked in the earth, some of them vanished. Enoch deals with where some of them may be, and some other books deal with where some of them may be too. So I can't speak on that with any kind of authority. All I know is what I read. But
Right.
that ancient alien stuff though, I'm sorry, I stepped away for a second. That ancient alien stuff is like, I hear what they're saying. They can call it whatever they want to call it, but I like to use accurate words to describe so that when I'm dealing with us, we know what we're saying. If I'm dealing with somebody who don't know, I'll accept that they call it a UFO. But I'm looking at chariots, right? When we read Ezekiel, it's described as a chariot. In all aspects, it's described as a chariot, and it's carrying, even if it's a spirit, it's carrying this spirit to and fro wherever it needs to go.
See,
it is what it is.
I think we try to box the Most High and his other creations outside of our world into our own understanding. And even the Messiah admonished us, but it seems like, how can you understand heavenly matters?
Yeah.
When you haven't even grasped earthly matters.
That's true.
You don't even understand the true potential of this place.
Yeah, because even what Ezekiel described was for Ezekiel's eyes.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So we talked about wheels that went to and fro, but they didn't actually move.
Right. Wheels going in every direction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like and having eyes all over and stuff. And so
oh, sis, okay, let's deal with that. So she says, and are these the aliens we see today? Well, I can't say that I saw an alien, so I'm not going to speak on what somebody says they saw. But if we're dealing with something like the History Channel and ancient aliens and stuff like that, when they talk about ancient aliens and ancient astronauts, they're describing angels.
Or
and
demons.
They know, well, angels or fallen angels or demons or Nephilim. And they will tell you, if you really parallel what they're saying to what you know about scripture, they'll tell you that they know they're dealing with
demons,
angels, as well as Nephilim, because they'll give you the definition of a Nephilim. They say from heaven to earth they came is their definition. And then they'll also tell you in the movies that you watch.
Yes, that movie. What's it? Fifth Dimension, Fifth Gate. What's the one that y'all finally forced me to watch?
I thought you was gonna bring up the one with Will Smith.
No, the one about the scientist, the woman that's like, no, the woman who moved to Alaska. She was a doctor. She moved to Alaska to deal with to help the people who said had been abducted by aliens. And the mental psychosis of it. And she went to talk to them to help them.
Oh, the fifth encounter, the fifth kind.
The fifth kind.
Oh no, they didn't make you watch that. We watched it.
No, y'all made me watch it.
So you got encounters, and this is they try to blend science with it. So you got encounters of the fourth kind. This movie was called Fifth Kind, as in encounters of the fifth kind. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
The other one is a little easier to explain to me because it's been a minute since I've seen that.
No, the point was clear. The fourth kind was aliens. The fifth kind was her coming out saying we wasn't dealing with aliens, we was dealing with demons. They was demons.
Well, I think the different kinds was what level of interaction you had with.
But that's what she like. The end result was her saying, remember they caught her before she died. They caught real footage.
Excuse me, I remember that. Yeah.
So they kept in this. They kept adding the real footage of her,
right?
Because it was supposed to be based on a true story,
right?
So they added the real footage. So like at one point after she had got sucked up and taken, when she came back, she was white and paralyzed.
I do remember
they broke all her bones.
Yeah. And
she came and she says, but that's just it. These are no aliens. These aren't beings that's strange here. These are earthly beings. These are demons. We're dealing with demons. This was a demon.
I like the one with Will Smith. What was the name of that one again? Hancock.
Oh yeah.
I like that one because Hancock was misplaced and had amnesia. But one of his kind found him. And long story short, when they were in the midst of a fight, and it was a whirlwind fight, they showed you, if you pay attention, that they was dealing with angels.
Angels, sure did.
Or fallen angels, however you want to put it.
In one of the scenes where it was a twister, it was
Yeah.
a twister, like they was in the middle of like a hurricane, and then a tornado happened. And in one of those scenes, if you slow it down, you won't see you won't be able to tell us from the movie because the movie goes too fast.
Unless you really watch it.
Unless you really watch it and you slow it down, you can see where
in the middle of the tornado.
In the middle of the tornado is beings with they look like Anubis. You know,
the fifth kind, like Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
yeah.
This movie was simply called The Fifth Kind.
And let me tell you, for the record, I never wanted to watch that movie. They tricked me into watching that movie. That movie made my skin itch. That movie was something else.
If you understand what you're looking at, it's interesting.
Coty Antoinette?
I wanted to get back to what you were saying about Goliath's armor.
Okay.
And the scale. And you know, they and those one of those pagan religions that he told us about, you know, just like the same one with the Pope has the hat that's an open fish mouth. That was the one, that was one of the that was the religion and who they followed with that fish thing. So I'm thinking that's where they got that scale type of technology from for his armor to have it to be like scales, because they worship that deity, which was a fish.
Mm-hmm.
They was into the fish worship.
Even to the extent that Goliath may have been descended from that deity. Because remember, he's a Nephilim. But I like what you said.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's where they got that, you said technology, right? Because we think of this armor in the Dark Ages, where they're wearing all this heavy armor, and they got those layered scale, like you can't pierce through this with your sword or your spear or your javelin. We think of that as something that they originated. But why did it ever look like scales? As we were reading that, it's something that just jumped out to me.
And I've been, man, let me tell you something. I just stumbled down a rabbit hole that's out of this world. Like, I don't even want to share with y'all yet, this rabbit hole I just stumbled down because I don't have it flushed out just yet. But this thing with the Lilith and the Lilins, Semiramis, coming out the fish and the mermaid.
Yeah.
Man, this
Semiramis is part of that worship, of the fish worship, because she came from the water, and her father was, you know, and that's my second point. Whereas I wanted to get to what you were talking about with Icarus, these Greek myths and these Roman, what they call mythology, is not necessarily mythology. It's just people repeating, and it's turned into a myth. That's just like, you know, back in the, you know, when they talk about, you know, old boy back in the, somebody from the 40s, you know, Leroy Brown. He, you know, by the time it gets to us, the story has been embellished. But Icarus, you know, part of it is, you know, these lessons. He did try to reach, you know, up into the heavens, and he got smacked right back down. They burn, you know, or like you said, Poseidon.
Yep.
All of these Phoenician, these are all Phoenician, and before the Phoenicians, you know, Put and Kemet and all of these type of worships, you know, like they had the lion's head on the, you know, with you know, the Put religions and Mahat and all these Egyptian type of, you know. But some of it, like you say, you have to think about it. Okay, we look at it as if, okay, well, this can't be true. No, there probably were centaurs, whereas they mixed together and they had half human body and half, or he had a lion's head and human body.
Yeah,
we read about those.
Because it said it had 4 heads. One was like a lion, one was like an eagle, and I think one was, you know, a bear, and all of this. So if that is true, and his word is true, and it will last.
Yes.
So if this is what it say in the word, then these are people who have had encounters with angels, or who, whether they were good or bad, I'm not sure.
Right.
But these are sightings of angels.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. As a matter of fact, in addition to what you're saying, another lens to view that through, I would say, is as we have been born and raised in the Western Hemisphere, and our predominant lens that we view history is through a Christian lens. The Christian lens taught us that the Western version of monotheism says that there's only ever one God. But Scripture never says that. Scripture says there's only one creator. But these other places that you just referred to, Greek, Roman, Egypt, are still keeping track of the stories of the gods, of the fallen angels that they worship. And so Western education has told us this is mythology. But they don't say it's mythology in Greece. They don't say it's mythology in Egypt. They don't say it's mythology in Rome. As a matter of fact, the Catholic priest tells you as he's putting a chain around your neck, this is the patron saint of travel. That's a god they're worshiping.
Yeah.
And so they've kept track of these gods. It is only up to us to identify the attributes. If you identify the attribute of the god, whether it's stylized as Greek, Roman, or Egyptian, you've identified the fallen angel or the Nephilim they're worshiping. They're keeping track of the story. Icarus, Samson, all of, whoever you mentioning, these are the stories of, they tell you, the demigods. The demigods are the children of the fallen angels and humans, even in Greek mythology. Well, that's scripture. They just, in Western theology,
to take it even further, Slow-Mo. You know, to take it even further, it's just that the second part of it is that they are so arrogant that they have equated it to themselves when it all came from us. They got all of those sayings and tales from us in Africa.
Absolutely.
You know, the Greeks will tell you, as you say, westernized literature will not tell you that. They'll say that, oh, you know, you had the Greek philosophers and everything. But even if you look into the Greek history, it'll tell you that they got all that from Africa.
Well, the Tower of Babel was real.
Yes.
And so things were very real before the Most High split up the languages and sent everybody, divided mankind. And so after that, mankind just went, you know, Rome to China, and they took the same stories, but now they had switched languages and switched, you know, but it's telling the same tale. It really is. It's telling the same story.
50 different languages.
Yeah. And then the gods.
Different variations. The one that we lean to is the one that's in Torah.
Okay. At the time what they call Atlantis, they call this Atlantis because before YAHUSHUA flooded the earth, man, they was tripping. They had got the world to be this metropolis that they've been striving for all this time. And it was wicked, but to them it was a golden era. Yep. It was the era of invention. It was the era of, you know, you did have giants walking the street. What you were saying, the half man with the centaurs and the, you know what I'm saying, you did have all that stuff, you know, that was able to live out in the open and to, you know, it was crazy.
He, she's, transsexuals, all that.
All kind of mess, you know what I'm saying?
Genetic splicing.
Magic, all kind of wickedness.
I don't think that and I think she would agree, I don't think we've got back yet to the level of science and industry that was going on then. I think they're trying to get there. Once they get there, I think y'all gonna come cleanse it back up because he did it then.
We get too many signals. We get too many signs of that. First of all, we know that, what do we know about back in the day? I mean, y'all said there was nothing that came to the hearts of man
It was all wicked.
that they hid their hands to do. It was all wicked.
Yep.
And what do we know about this day? It says the Messiah is us. So are the days of Noah. As is the days of Noah, so shall it be in the end.
Right.
So exactly how it was happening, and now we're already being prepped. Now, you can't you can't say to
You can't say wrong is wrong.
right. You can't say to your child who may have watched the movie, your small child may have watched the movie and your little girl jumped up swinging a sword like she a boy because she just watched Lancelot.
Right.
And now she pretending to be Lancelot. So then they tell her after this happens, well, then you're Lancelot. You're now a boy. So you can't say no, baby. You was just feeling that way because you watched the movie.
What does Scripture say? Scripture say, woe to those who call evil good and good evil.
Exactly. I was listening to Elon Musk and them today. Musk and them today. And you know what I'm saying? These cats, man, look, they're going to convince you that AI is bad. And then the only way you can defeat it is by joining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't beat them, join.
Join.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't beat the devil, join.
To join his genetic makeup.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the same thing. Look, we're gonna see some things. Y'all prepare yourselves. We can see some
Meta. Come on, Coach Kimmy. Meta is here.
Man, here we are.
When Coach Antoinette was talking about the different gods, we have a statue because I'm not sure if y'all know, but Birmingham is called the Steel City, because of our steel production. So we have a statue of the Vulcan. He sits on top of a hill, on top of a mountain that looks over the city. Like their past holiday, they took pictures of the fireworks behind him, or whatever. And it made me think about it because I see him every day on my way to work. I see him sitting up there. And I be thinking like, that's and then, I don't know, Birmingham ranks number 3 in the country in homicides. Like it's a hot summer, winter, fall, and spring every time. Like, and I'm thinking you got your mighty one sitting on a hill. You've raised him into a high place that he overlooks the city. I mean, he don't look in none of the suburbans. He facing straight ahead into Birmingham. He looking into the city. And it made me think about how even today in this land, if not just with the Greeks and the Romans, even the daughter of Babylon, she has her signs everywhere. I mean, it's all the 360 million thousand gods they serve, and we all got them.
Yep.
It made me think of.
I'm gonna have to see that Vulcan you're talking about. I've been to Birmingham, but just passing through.
You can take a picture of it, Cole.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Who was that just put their hands down? That was Latasha.
Yep.
Coach Latasha.
Come on up, sis.
No, it was the same thing that almost like what Coach Kimmy was saying when she was talking about like the statues, because that's the same thing they have downtown in Center City of Philadelphia. They have a statue sitting up top on
what's the name of that city again, sis?
City Hall building. Philadelphia.
No, you said Center
and it's
City.
William. Yep, Center City. And they because that's the center of our city.
Center. Okay. God damn, Center
It's the
City.
center of our city, and yep, it's William Penn sitting up on top, and he got like 2 eagle birds sitting on his shoulders, and one looking like north and one looking south. So it's I know exactly what she's talking about. It's William Penn standing on top of a building, and then he got 2 eagle birds on both of his shoulders, looking north and south.
Oh,
and it's just crazy because it's like, on City Hall. Yep, on top of City Hall in our city. And I'm just like, when you think about it and you start seeing all the different like idols and stuff when you driving around your city, you see them and you just say like, why?
Yep.
Like why? Like she said, they number 3. I think we number 1.
They telling you they're leaving.
Yep. And then when you was talking about with the transgenders, so they just passed this law where it says if somebody identified as a girl, because I guess a girl and a guy was fighting, and the cops picked him up, and he was about to get arrested for assault, but he said, "Well, she hit me first, and I identify as a woman, and it was 2 women fighting." So she got arrested for assault, even though she was beat better than everything. Like, it was so bad. Me and my brother was watching it on the news. And he said he identified as a woman. So when they picked him up, she got arrested and got arrested for assault against him. And you could clearly see, like, he's a man. I was like, wow. I said, this world, yeah, you could clearly see he a man. You know he a man. He looks like a man. And they still arrested her because he said he identified as a woman.
I seen this young sister who she got upset and she was like, you know, what I'm about to say probably gonna get me canceled, but I don't care. She was like, you know, she seen a post where this transgender guy who now identifies as a woman was speaking for the plight of women. And she like, see what we're not gonna do? We're not gonna do that. You can't speak for me. You can't speak for my struggles. You can't, you know, you can't do that. You don't understand my struggles. You don't know what we go through. And you know, and they, you know, it was mixed reviews, but it's getting so the lines are getting so blurred.
I've been waiting on women to speak up. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting on women to speak up for themselves to say, how can you usurp my position as a woman? You have none of the experiences of being a woman, but now you want to take all of the advantages and you deal with none of the disadvantages. The disadvantages, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Hey, you only got to have a monthly menstrual cycle. You don't have to bear the pain of, you know, having children. You don't have to go through the mood swings.
That's how you know it's witchcraft, man. How did you get women to go along? I ain't gonna even try to fathom how you got men to go along with it outside of fear of being prosecuted for some reason. But how did you get women to go along?
They use big names. They use people like, I remember when Beyonce first put transgenders in her video. She had, yeah, you know that
like you should have put a ring on.
Right, not just that one.
That single ladies video.
Before that, the one, the freaking girl dress.
I didn't know that, but I did it before her.
Yeah, when she getting dressed in the mirror, when she was like, "Let me change my hair," you know what I'm saying? The two women standing there putting on her dresses, man.
Here's one for you. Do y'all remember Top Model?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we stopped. Yeah, I used to watch Top Model. Man,
it was so much fun.
But the season they put a man in the show, I was like, I just can't.
That was and that was early. That was back in
like 2009.
2008, 2009. I'm like, wow, that was but it's not even a shock.
I said I'm not. Yeah, back then it was.
Show you how swiftly this thing is happening. It's not even shock now. You see it now. You don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like every movie, every sitcom, every commercial, like they are indoctrinating, they are flooding you with it so that you become desensitized to it. And now we have become this, like it used to be a time like if I seen, you know, two of the same sex individuals participating in an intimate kiss or something, I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like
two men, I guess.
You say two men?
I guess. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
but look how they played that.
Not that it's not more wrong, but the idea of somebody getting penetrated.
That's because they had before they desensitized us with two men, they desensitized us with two women.
Yeah.
Until, you know, now nobody blinks when they see two women kissing or doing something like that.
Because we think it's one you can't come back from.
That was way back in the 80s. You know, you could see two women and then you would think good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is good. Okay, there's a video that shows a man standing in the woman's bathroom, dressed in a skirt and heels, and he clearly has an erection, and he's taking pics and video. Wow.
Because he said he was a woman, it's okay.
Wow.
Is that what we're doing? That's what we're doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm finna get on up out of here. I'm ready for taco. And I don't want to eat taco in front of y'all. I think that'd be rude. Because guacamole and stuff be falling off the taco, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. You be sitting there thinking, I wish I had me some guacamole and tacos. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be a stumbling block to y'all. So let me get on about this office conference call.
Family, it was a blessing as usual to be with y'all for the Shabbat.
Hey.
And that y'all allowed us to be here for this time and fellowship with y'all. And y'all willing, we will see y'all next week. Coach Natasha, come on.
I just said I wanted tacos. She raised her hand.
No. No, I just wanted to ask Coach Gilead, could we meet tomorrow?
Yeah, I think Red wants to talk to y'all too.
No, I talked to Tasha. I just wanted to make sure we, go ahead and grab it, and that it, we don't slip through our fingers.
Yeah.
Shabbat shalom, y'all. Love y'all.
I'm cold as fresh. I'm cold as fresh. I'm too blessed to be stressed because I've been blessed by the best. I'm cold as